The council chamber fell silent. Worlds had burned, treaties lay in ashes, and the killers stood unpunished. The galaxy demanded negotiation. Then the human delegate rose and spoke 5 cold words. "We don't bargain with murderers." The silent colony, the discovery that changed everything. Commander. Jessica Stone stared at the readings on her ship's scanner, hoping they were wrong. The UES Pathfinder had just dropped out of hyperspace near the human colony of New Terra, but something was terribly wrong. The usual busy chatter of colony communications was silent. No ships moved between the orbital stations. No lights blinked from the surface installations. "Commander, I'm not picking up any life signs," reported Lieutenant Tom Harrison, her communications officer. His voice carried a tremor that Stone had never heard before. They had been friends for 10 years, through 3 campaigns and countless missions. But this was different. Stone walked to the observation deck and looked down at the planet that should have been bustling with 15,000 human colonists. New Terra had been one of humanity's pride projects, a world where families could raise children safely while contributing to scientific research. The planet specialized in agricultural development and medical research that helped other human colonies thrive. "Take us into orbit," she ordered. "Full scan of all installations." As the Pathfinder moved closer, the full horror became clear. The colonial capital of Haven City lay in ruins. Buildings that had housed families, schools, and research facilities were now smoking craters. The orbital farming platforms that had fed not just New Terra, but 3 other human worlds floated dead in space, their life support systems destroyed. Dr. Sarah Kim, the ship's medical officer, joined Stone on the observation deck. "Commander, I'm detecting traces of banned plasma weapons. The energy signatures match Zephyrian military technology." Stone felt her stomach drop. The Zephyrian Empire had been making aggressive moves toward human territory for months, but the Galactic Federation had assured Earth that diplomatic solutions were being pursued. The Federation's Council of Species had promised that no military action would be necessary. "Launch a full investigation team," Stone commanded. "I want to know exactly what happened here." The horror below 6 hours later, the investigation team returned to the Pathfinder with evidence that would change the galaxy forever. Chief Investigator Mark Chen, a veteran who had seen combat in the border wars, could barely speak as he delivered his report. "Commander, it was a massacre," Chen said, his voice hollow. "They didn't just attack military targets. They hit the schools first, then the hospitals, then the residential areas. There are no survivors." Stone reviewed the footage from Chen's investigation. What she saw made her close her eyes in disgust and rage. The Zephyrian forces had not simply conquered New Terra. They had systematically exterminated every human on the planet, including children as young as 3 years old. The investigation team had found evidence of families trying to hide in underground shelters. The Zephyrians had used thermal weapons to burn them out, then killed them as they fled. Security recordings showed Zephyrian soldiers laughing as they hunted down colonists who tried to surrender. "Commander, there's more," Dr. Kim reported. "I found medical logs indicating that some colonists were kept alive for experimentation. The Zephyrians were testing new biological weapons on human civilians." Stone's hands clenched into fists. She had served in the Earth Defense Force for 20 years, rising through the ranks by maintaining her composure under pressure. But nothing had prepared her for this level of cruelty directed at innocent civilians. "Sir, we found this transmission," Lieutenant Harrison said, activating a recording device. "It's from the colony's final hours." A young voice filled the bridge. It was Emma Rodriguez, age 7, speaking into her personal recorder while hiding with her family in their home's safe room. "Mommy says the bad aliens are coming. Daddy is trying to call for help, but the communicator is broken. I want to go home to Earth and see Grandma again. If someone finds this, please tell Grandma that I love her." The recording cut off abruptly with the sound of plasma weapons and screaming. The galaxy's indifference stone immediately transmitted her findings to Earth Command, marking them as highest priority. Within hours, she received a response that made her question everything she thought she knew about galactic civilization. "Commander Stone," came the voice of Admiral Patricia Hayes from Earth Defense Headquarters. "Your report has been forwarded to the Galactic Federation. We're being advised to pursue diplomatic channels and avoid escalation. Admiral, with respect, they murdered 15,000 civilians, including children. This isn't a diplomatic matter anymore." Commander, Earth is still a relatively new member of the galactic community. We need to follow established protocols. The Federation Council believes that economic sanctions and negotiated settlements are the appropriate response. Stone couldn't believe what she was hearing. She walked back to the observation deck and looked down at the dead world below. Somewhere in those ruins were the bodies of families who had trusted their government to protect them. Children who had been drawing pictures and learning to read just days ago were now ash. The Zephyrian response. The answer to humanity's diplomatic overtures came sooner than expected. While Stone waited for further orders, her communications officer picked up a galactic broadcast from the Zephyrian homeworld. Admiral Kex Than, the Zephyrian commander responsible for the new Terra operation, appeared on screen. His reptilian features showed what could only be described as amusement as he addressed the galaxy. The human colony New Terra has been cleansed according to Zephyrian imperial doctrine, Kex then announced. These mammals had the audacity to establish settlements in space that the Empire claims for future expansion. We have sent a clear message about the consequences of such presumption. The broadcast continued with Kex Than displaying footage from the attack. He showed his forces destroying the children's school, describing it as eliminating future human breeding stock. He laughed while showing recordings of families begging for mercy before being executed. Let this serve as a warning to all inferior species, the Admiral concluded. The Zephyrian Empire takes what it wants. Those who resist will face the same fate as New Terra. Stone watched the broadcast with growing horror, not just at the content, but at the realization that it was being transmitted on open galactic channels. The Zephyrians weren't even pretending this was anything other than genocide. They were proud of it. The point of no return as Stone prepared her ship to return to Earth with the evidence. She received one final transmission that changed everything. It came from Emma Rodriguez's grandmother on Earth, an elderly woman named Maria, who had seen the news reports. Commander Stone. The old woman's voice was steady despite her tears. I know my granddaughter Emma was on New Terra. I know what happened to her. I'm not asking for vengeance. I'm asking for justice. Please don't let her death mean nothing. Stone looked around at her crew. These were good people who had joined the Earth Defense Force to protect humanity and explore the galaxy. They had believed in diplomacy and cooperation between species. But as they stared at the evidence of what had happened to New Terra, something fundamental changed in their eyes. Lieutenant Harrison spoke first. Commander, my daughter is the same age Emma was. If someone did this to her, they'd regret it for the rest of their very short lives, finished Dr. Kim. Stone nodded slowly. She opened a communication channel to Earth Command, knowing that her next words would either end her career or begin something much larger. Admiral Hayes, this is Commander Stone aboard the Pathfinder. I'm transmitting complete evidence of the New Terra massacre. Every recording, every piece of physical evidence, every detail of what the Zephyrians did to our people. Ma'am, if the Galactic Federation won't give us justice, then perhaps it's time Earth reconsidered its commitment to their diplomatic protocols. The transmission ended, and Stone looked one last time at the dead world below. The Zephyrians had made a critical error. They had assumed that humans would react like other galactic species, accepting loss and seeking compromise. They were about to learn that humans were different. Throughout their entire evolutionary history, humans had one consistent response to threats against their children: total war until the threat was eliminated forever. The galaxy was about to discover why Earth had never been conquered, and why humanity had survived every extinction event on their violent homeworld. The age of treating humans as just another diplomatic species was about to end. The diplomatic failure. When words fall on deaf ears, Ambassador Marcus Chen stepped off the diplomatic shuttle onto the gleaming platform of Zephyr Prime. The capital world of the Zephyrian Empire. The artificial gravity felt heavy beneath his feet, but not as heavy as the weight of his mission. 3 weeks had passed since Commander Stone's discovery at New Terra, and Earth's leadership had decided to give diplomacy one final chance. Chen had been Earth's most successful diplomat for 15 years. He had negotiated trade agreements with the Crystalline Consortium, prevented wars between rival mining corporations, and helped establish humanity's position in the Galactic Federation. He believed deeply in the power of words to solve conflicts that weapons could not. But as he looked around at the towering spires of the Zephyrian capital, with their architecture designed to intimidate rather than inspire, Chen felt a cold doubt creeping into his mind. The buildings rose like giant claws reaching toward the sky, their surfaces polished black stone that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Ambassador Chen," came a voice behind him. Chen turned to see Diplomatic Liaison Vexmore, a mid-level Zephyrian official whose scales gleamed with the blue-green pattern that indicated his rank. "The High Council will see you now." Chen nodded and followed Vexmore through corridors lined with what appeared to be trophies from conquered worlds. He recognized artifacts from at least a dozen different species, displayed like hunting prizes. His stomach turned when he spotted what looked like children's toys from various civilizations, mounted on the walls like museum pieces. The Council of Monsters. The Zephyrian High Council chamber was designed to overwhelm visitors. The ceiling stretched up into darkness, supported by pillars carved to look like the bones of massive creatures. Around a crescent-shaped table sat 12 of the most powerful beings in Zephyrian space, their reptilian forms draped in ceremonial armor that highlighted their predatory nature. At the center sat High Chancellor Morthak, whose scarred hide and missing left eye spoke of a violent rise to power. To his right sat Admiral Kexthan, the architect of New Terra's destruction, wearing what appeared to be human artifacts as decorations on his uniform. "Ambassador Chen of Earth," Morthak's voice rumbled through the chamber. "You requested this audience to discuss the New Terra situation." Chen stepped forward, his diplomatic training taking over despite his revulsion at being in the same room as mass murderers. "High Chancellor, I come seeking justice for the 15,000 innocent civilians killed in your unprovoked attack on New Terra colony." The council erupted in what Chen realized was laughter. The sound was like grinding metal mixed with the hiss of escaping gas. Admiral Kexthan leaned forward, his red eyes gleaming with amusement. "Justice?" Kexthan repeated. "What justice do insects deserve when they build nests in a predator's hunting ground?" Chen forced himself to remain calm. New Terra was established in neutral space, recognized by the Galactic Federation as legitimate human territory. Your attack violated 17 interstellar laws. Laws written by weak species to protect themselves from the strong, Morthak replied dismissively. "The Zephyrian Empire recognizes only the law of power. Your colony existed at our pleasure, and that pleasure has ended." Chen activated a holographic projector displaying images from Commander Stone's investigation. "These are recordings of your forces killing children, High Chancellor. 7-year-old Emma Rodriguez, 5-year-old David Kim, dozens of other innocents. How do you justify murdering children?" The council members examined the recordings with what could only be described as professional interest. Several made notes on datapads as if reviewing a training exercise. "Efficient work," commented Council Member Zexkar. Admiral Kexthan's forces showed excellent tactical precision. "No witnesses, minimal resource expenditure, maximum psychological impact." Chen stared in disbelief. "You're discussing the murder of children like it's a military achievement." "Because that's exactly what it is," Kexthan replied. "Those young humans would have grown up to breed more of your kind. By eliminating them now, we prevented future territorial disputes. It's simple strategic thinking." The Galactic Federation's weakness, Chen's personal communicator, buzzed with an incoming message from the Galactic Federation headquarters. The transmission was from Federation President Nal Keth, an elderly Vorlian whose species had been peacekeepers for centuries. "Ambassador Chen," Nal Keth's synthesized voice filled the chamber. "The Federation Council has reviewed the New Terra incident. We propose a compromise solution that addresses both human concerns and Zephyrian territorial claims." Chen activated the speaker so the Zephyrian Council could hear the proposal. "The Federation suggests that Earth pay reparations to the Zephyrian Empire for establishing an unauthorized colony in disputed space. In return, the Empire will agree to give advance warning before future territorial adjustments." The silence in the chamber was deafening. Chen felt his last hope for a peaceful resolution crumbling. The Federation was asking Earth to pay for the privilege of having their children murdered. Morthak was the first to speak. "This proposal has merit. However, the Empire demands additional concessions. All human colonies within 50 light-years of our borders must be abandoned within 1 standard year." "That's impossible," Chen protested. "Those colonies house over 2 million people." "Then they can relocate or face the same fate as New Terra," Kexthan said casually. The choice is theirs. Chen looked around the chamber at the faces of beings who spoke of genocide as casually as others might discuss the weather. These were not soldiers driven by desperation or politicians making difficult choices. These were predators who enjoyed killing, and who saw humanity as nothing more than prey to be eliminated at their convenience. The point of no return, Chen's communicator buzzed again. This time it was a direct line from Earth's President Sarah Martinez. Her voice carried none of the diplomatic caution that usually characterized official communications. Ambassador Chen, are you in a secure location to speak freely? President Martinez. I'm in the Zephyrian High Council chamber. They can hear everything. Good, then they can hear this directly. Martinez's voice hardened. The Galactic Federation's proposal is rejected. Earth will not pay reparations for having our children murdered. We will not abandon our colonies to appease genocidal monsters. Morthak leaned forward with interest. Then what does Earth propose, President Martinez? Earth demands the immediate surrender of Admiral Kexton and all personnel involved in the New Terra massacre. They will face trial under human justice for crimes against humanity. The council chamber erupted in harsh laughter. Kexton stood up, his massive form towering over the council table. I am a hero of the Zephyrian Empire. I will never submit to the judgment of prey animals. Then Earth has one final message for the Zephyrian Empire, Martinez continued. You have 72 hours to surrender the war criminals responsible for New Terra. After that, we will come and take them. Morthak's expression shifted from amusement to something approaching anger. Are you threatening the Zephyrian Empire, human? We don't make threats, Martinez replied coldly. We make promises. 72 hours. The transmission ended, leaving Chen alone in a room full of beings who had just heard Earth declare war on one of the galaxy's most powerful military empires. The Zephyrian response. Admiral Kexton stepped down from his position at the council table and walked slowly around Chen, studying him like a predator examining cornered prey. Ambassador, your species amuses me. You have perhaps 50 combat vessels worthy of the name. We have over 3,000 warships, including the Dreadnought class that can crack planets. Chen forced himself to meet the Admiral's gaze. Numbers aren't everything, Admiral. In war, numbers are the only thing that matters, Kexton replied. Your pathetic fleet will be swept aside like dust in a solar wind. Morthak activated the chamber's main display screen. Since Earth has chosen war over wisdom, let us provide them with a demonstration of what awaits them. The screen showed live footage from a human mining outpost in the Kepler system, where 30 families worked the asteroid belts. The miners had no idea they were being watched by Zephyrian stealth ships. Admiral, show our human guest how the Empire responds to threats, Morthak commanded. Chen watched in horror as Zephyrian raiders attacked the mining facility. The humans tried to surrender immediately, broadcasting distress signals and offering to evacuate. The Zephyrians ignored their pleas and systematically destroyed every ship, habitat module, and escape pod. 47 more dead humans, Kexton reported with satisfaction, including 9 children who were visiting their parents at work. Consider this advance payment for your ultimatum. Chen's diplomatic composure finally cracked. You're monsters. All of you. We are apex predators, Morthak corrected, and you are prey that has forgotten its place in the natural order. Your 72-hour ultimatum begins now, Ambassador. Use that time to convince your government to withdraw their foolish demands. The return home. During the long journey back to Earth, Chen reviewed everything he had witnessed. He had spent his career believing that every conflict could be resolved through negotiation, that every species had some capacity for reason and compromise. The Zephyrians had shattered that belief completely. They were not soldiers fighting for their people or politicians making difficult choices. They were sadistic killers who took pleasure in murder and saw diplomacy as a sign of weakness. Chen's personal log entry that night would later be studied in military academies across human space. There are some evils that cannot be negotiated with, only destroyed. The Zephyrian Empire has shown us that they are not a civilization, but a plague that spreads death and suffering wherever it goes. They understand only force, and force is what they will receive. When Chen's shuttle docked at Earth's orbital headquarters, he was met by Admiral Sarah Rodriguez, the commander of Earth's military forces. Rodriguez was a veteran of the border conflicts, a woman who had earned her rank through combat experience rather than political connections. How bad is it, Marcus? She asked. Chen handed her a data pad containing recordings from his meeting with the Zephyrian High Council. Sarah, they're not going to stop with New Terra. They see us as animals to be exterminated for their amusement. They're planning to demand the evacuation of all human colonies within 50 light-years of their territory. Rodriguez reviewed the recordings, her expression growing darker with each passing minute. When she finished, she looked up at Chen with eyes that held the coldness of deep space. Marcus, you've spent 15 years keeping humanity out of wars. Now I need you to help me fight one. Chen nodded slowly. What do you need me to do? Help me explain to the galaxy why we're about to do something that will change the balance of power forever. Rodriguez activated her personal communicator. All department heads, immediate meeting in the war room. As of this moment, Earth is on a war footing. The 72-hour ultimatum was ticking down, and everyone knew the Zephyrians had no intention of surrendering their war criminals. Earth's military was about to face the largest empire in known space, with a fleet that was outnumbered 60-1. But what the Zephyrians didn't know was that humans had been preparing for this possibility since their first contact with aggressive alien species, hidden in asteroid belts and concealed within nebulae. Earth's secret weapons waited for the signal to reveal themselves to a galaxy that was about to learn why humanity had survived every extinction event on their violent home world.